made of stainless steel and a digital timer installed to release pheromone compounds automatically. LED light bulbs consist of two color bases with a specific ratio according to plant growth. In the germination phase, the ratio of red and blue used is 80% and 20%, while for the vegetative phase, the ratio of red and blue used is 20% and 80%. When the plant enters the generative phase, it will use a red and blue color ratio of 60% and 40%. The lamp will light up based on the installed light sensor. Glomax has additional features as an environmentally friendly pest controller. Besides, green sting bugs or Nezzara viridula attack can decrease soybean production yield in Indonesia. On the tool, a green sting bug trap will be installed. Artificial pheromone compounds obtained from extract from the cold food plant or Tussilago farfara will attract green sting bug to trap. Green sting bugs will be stuck in the trap and will be drowning in a detergent liquid. By applying this technology system, it is hoped that it can support the growth and production of large-scale soybean plants. This tool is designed in such a way as to be feasible to be implemented in major soybean production areas. Glomax is expected to minimize soybean import activity and an effort to engineer an ideal soybean plant environment and reduce the level of attack by the primary pest, namely Nezzara viridula. Glomax, technology for better future agriculture.
Well, that's all my presentation. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you very much for the participants. We moving on for the response and advice sessions from the judges. Probably for Professor Tutuk, you may give advice or response to the participants' research.
Okay, thank you, Mas Malano. First, congratulations. Yeah. In general, yeah, this article is good. Yeah, but in the generally, yeah, in the format of if we writing the article, scientific research article, yeah, useless is not common. Yeah, in the abstract, you put the reference. Yeah, yeah. Usually in the abstract, yeah, you must write first background. Yeah, background your research. Yeah, after background, you must write objective. Yeah, objective of your research. Yeah. After object, you must write the method of your research. Yeah, methodology of your research. Yeah. After method, you must write results. Yeah. After result, you can put your conclusion. Yeah. Yeah, it's general the research article abstract. Yeah. If you write the abstract, and I will propose to committee. Yeah, the example format, yeah, or template, yeah, for research article. I will keep the committee. Yeah, so we must write a standard research article. Yeah, if maybe you want to send to journal. Yeah. This the format, yeah, the format for abstract. Yeah. My question, yeah, if you want to apply, yeah, if you want to apply Glumac, yeah, if you want to apply Glumac, yeah, in the large scale, yeah, maybe you will apply to 10 hectare in the farm, yeah. What do you think? Any problem with your technology?
Okay, thank you for the question, sir. We think that the main problem, first, of course, about the cost that we need, because based on our economic analysis, for the 1 hectare we need around 32 million rupiahs. We said that is but we said this is the investment for the farmers. Beside that, the problems, I we think this is not a big problem, but the weakness of our innovation, or the traits for our innovation, is um, to introduce this technology to the farmers, because for the conventional farmers, maybe they don't understand how to use this technology, because our technology integrated with smartphones. So we have to um, we have to do socialization first, to the farmers, and then socialization about how to use this technology. So we would like to, um, the solution is to do a socio-cultural approach to the farmer, because by this socialization method, um, we think that this is a very easier step, or easier method to introduce a new technology to the farmer. I, I think maybe my friends would like to add my answer.
So, if we create a new technology, yeah, so we must think about we want to apply, yeah, because you said that the farmer maybe it's difficult, yeah, because they must learn, yeah, about new technology, yeah. This is must the thing, the next research, yeah, maybe in the your future research, yeah, you must think about it, yeah. Okay, Mas Malone, I think it's enough for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Tutuk. We're moving on into Dr. Dase. Doctor, do you have any response or advice?
Thank you very much for the time and opportunity. I think it is a good idea just to propose for extent intensifications of soybean productions. Actually, we are one of the biggest importer for soybean, but mostly the soybean coming into Indonesia, as you know, it is actually GMO, genetically modified soybean. So it means sometimes it is also difficult. So we have to compare your proposal using GlowMax, and also the result of this GMO. Because until now, the implementation of the cultivations for the soybean still not yet, but we keep import the soybean, because soybean is like a second staple food after the rice. And the third is actually chili. Yeah? So rice, soybean, and chili, because we eat tempeh every day, tofu every day. So this is one of the challenge for you. How this is comparisons with the GM technology. You using IoT can compete or not with the GM, because we keep importing. Now we are two sources for the import, China and also United States. Both are utilize this GM technology. We want to cultivate, but until now not yet for the GM that one. So this is one for later research. I think the data should be also considered comparing with the GM tech soybean. So how about your glow make can compete with this one? Because it is not enough for the farmer just using the IoT or LED, because competing with the GM can be also a challenge in the near futures. Because unless or we want to import as well this type of soybean. So we keep import, we keep becoming a consumer without implementing the technology. So that's from me. And also in regard to this one, there are also many research about this LED and IoT, but not for the soybean, but for the what in Brebes, onion farmers. So our researcher has already established this IoT for an LED light for the onions farmers in Brebes. So we want to, and even in the new, so you have to compare also with these implementations because it has already published for this one as well, but not for the soybean, but it is for the onions. So that's suggestions from me, the challenge for the GM comparison, and also improving the discussions comparing with the same similar technology, but for the onion.
Thank you, sir, for the suggestion.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dasa, for the advice and response. Moving on, the time is already finished. Thank you very much also for the judges and for the participant, the first participant that already present, Mr. Edwin Setiawan, talking about the fulfillment of soybean in Indonesia, where we still import or import 60% or as much as 2.67 million. With applying also of the technology of Glomex to concern also about the pest will support the growth of soybean production in large scale. And so instead of import, we can probably export the soybean. And the response from Professor Tutuk is about the format example for the proper research article already advised also for the committee and the participants. And in a mass production with Glomex problem, for Mr. Edwin say that the problem is some of the problem are made from the cost where 1 hectare can cost approximately around 32 million rupiah. But probably it can be a future plan or investment for the farmer. But maybe for the conventional farmer can be educated for the use of Glomex and further. And for Dr. Dasa, talking about the most of the import of soybeans is a GMO or a genetic modified soybean, where Dr. Dasa hope that Glomex can compete with the genetic modified technique also. Okay, thank you so much for the participants. We're moving on to the second presenter. The second presenter is Mr. Imade Dwi Merta Adiana. Are you already here?
Ready, Mr.
Okay. Can I call you Mr. Dwi Merta or?
Dwi.
Dwi, okay.
Okay,
So
I'm sorry, I do not open cam or internet is unstable.
Oh, okay, okay. So you will be taking research about the effectiveness and toxicity of Parasayu in SNS as a lavarcide against Aedes aegypti, right? From Erlangga University. If you have your PowerPoint ready, you may try to share screen the PowerPoint. Okay, I would like to remind you again, you have 15 minutes and following with the 10 minutes of response and advice sessions from the judges. You may start if you're ready.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity you give to us. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the honorable judges and all the participant and audience. My name is Imade Dwi Merta Adiana as representative from Erlangga University. Would like to present my research about the effectiveness and toxicity of Parasayu incense as a larvicide against Aedes aegypti mosquito. My background is taking the time of this research because the dengue virus infection or IVD caused by the Aedes aegypti mosquito increasing. In Indonesia, cases have increased, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Based on data from the Bali Provincial Health Office report, the number of cases 12,173 with the 19 deaths. The case fatality rate or CFR 0.2% and incident rate or ER 280.7 per 100,000. Will the target is less than the 49. There are several factors that have resulted in the high number of dengue cases, including the mosquito nest control program and 3M plus at the home level, which is the less effective. This is due to the increase in community participation, and in addition, the use of synthetic insecticide and larvicide cause environmental pollution, and now the causes resistant to insects. Especially dengue vector, they has a result the population expand and increase dengue cases by 5 times from the previous year. The problem, the problem faced today is mosquito resistant due to the use of temepos, one of which is the larvae of Aedes aegypti mosquito. In addition, the community habit of using the burning incense as means of ceremony contribution to particulate polluting in the environmental. This happens because the raw material from the incense contains synthetic dyes and preservative, which is the endanger health and are toxic to the respiratory tract. Moving on from the problem, they are resistant to the use of insecticide and larvicide in the form of temepos. So, insects made from waste pandan wangi leaves, lemongrass leaf, and wood powder in develop, which is the packaged in Paras Ayu incense preparation. The Paras Ayu incense smoke has been researched by the Adniana 2021, which is so the smoke is effective in killing the Aedes aegypti mosquito for 40 minutes and 18 seconds, and the toxicity test in the super toxic category. However, the result of the combustion in the form of ash have not been utilized is it the necessary to test whether the ash effectively used as a larvicide, especially the Aedes aegypti mosquito. This research support the effort to release the third point of SDGs, namely good health and well-being, and the 13th point related to climate action. The method used this research is experimental research with the completely randomized design, or CRD. The study group 875 Aedes aegypti mosquito larvae into 7 groups, which is where each group contained 25 larvae in the test tub. This research was carried for the 3 months and the biology and parasitology laboratory in Hindu University of Indonesia. Data shows from the result of the effectiveness test of larvicide and toxicity test using the lethal time of 50%. The sample criteria in this study use inclusion and exclusion criteria. Mosquito larva mortality death use the one-way ANOVA test followed the small significant difference or least significant difference or LSD, and the unit probability test or PROBIT using the linear regression and determine the relationship and close in each treatment group and research variable. The follow of this research start from the collecting raw material, producing Paras Ayu incense with a material ratio of 1 to 1. After that, the Aedes aegypti mosquito egg are hatched for 6 days or until they become the 40 instar. That grouping and acclimatization of the test larvae are carried out. Furthermore, the larvicide test was carried out by pouring the ash from the binding of parasite incense as much the 100 milligram into the test tub and observation according with the specified time. Furthermore, the number of destroyed dead and dead mosquito is calculated by not getting hot, sinking for floating, then survive. The remaining larvae were exterminated and ended with analysis research data. Based on the result of this study, the probability value of 0.00 is small than P 0.01. Thus, exposure to parasite incense as with a time of 2, 4, 6, 8, and 24 hours is very significant and effectively used to cause mortality in Aedes aegypti mosquito with a confidence level of 99%. The result of the toxicity of parasite incense as exposure to the mortality of Aedes aegypti mosquito larvae obtain the probability of 0.00, which is small than the p-value less than 0.01. There is effective of time of exposure to parasite incense on the mortality of Aedes aegypti mosquito larvae. The result of the lethal time were 50%, 57,453. Thus, exposure to parasite incense as result in the mortality of larvae as much 50% in 5 hours, 37 minutes, and 32 seconds. The result of the determination coefficient or R quadrat obtained the mortality rate of Aedes aegypti mosquito larvae 95.52% was influenced by the exposure time of parasite incense, as well the rest was influenced by the factor. The result of testing the level clause of the relationship between variable obtained a correct correlation coefficient of 97.73. Thus, the relationship between exposure time to parasite incense S and the mortality rate of Aedes aegypti mosquito larva very strong. The ash content of parasite incense that cause mortality in larvae include the silica compound that act to stomach poison, respiratory poison, and contact poison, which is where the interfere with larvae spiracle entering through in the exoskeleton with the help of tarsus. Silica compound work by inhibiting cell metabolism and synthetic through electron transport from the mitochondria. This result in decrease in cell performance in producing food. Furthermore, saponin and alkaloid as a stomach poison by inhibiting the cholinesterase enzyme and result the phosphorylation and inactive and accumulation of the acetylcholine in the synapse cleft, so that the larva experience to paralysis. Furthermore, in polyphenol compound works as digestive toxin by inhibiting the electron transport in mitochondria, and finally of flavonoid compound as a respiratory poison that inhibit spiracle and pores and the cause wilting of the nervous system and muscle spasms and death. Paras Ayu incense product, but smoke and ash have meet environmental standard number 22 in 2021 and have been declared safe and feasible to be products by the Bali Provincial Health and Safety Center. The Paras Ayu Incense has obtained business license from Ministry of Trade and currently in the clinical trial staged by the Food and Drug Administration. There are several advantages of Paras Ayu Incense product. Number one, environmentally friendly and safe for health. Number two, minimize agriculture waste and minimize air emission in the province of Bali. Number three, incense does not use synthetic dyes and fragrance. Number four, the price offered is affordable and meets and the need of incense in the community. And the last, effectively replace temepos and as natural larvicide. The conclusion from this study include number one, Paras Ayu incense as effectively used an larvicide with a time 5 hours, 37 minutes, and 32 seconds to cause mortality in Aedes aegypti mosquito. Number two, Paras Ayu incense as contains silica compound, flavonoids, saponins, polyphenol, and alkaloids. And number three, is it half this incense will be produced soon to help minimize the population of larva and imago Aedes aegypti mosquito and reduce the incidence of dengue cases in the province of Bali. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Now we're moving on into advice and response sessions from the judges. For Professor Tutuk, you may start the sessions.
Okay, thank you, Malino. I think it's a good idea and good article, yeah, for research article, yeah. But my suggestion, yeah, if we write the research article and we want to publish, yeah, the first we must consistent, yeah, in the writing in the article, yeah. So if we write reference in the Harvard's form, yeah, all of in the abstract, in the introduction until conclusion, we must the Harvard, yeah. But if we want to write in the fun cover, we must all the format is in the fun cover, yeah, such as, yeah, in the introduction, yeah, you write sorry, yeah, in the ADNYA, ya, ADNYA 2021 discover that smoking parasayu blah 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 blah, ya, because in the start, in the introduction, ya, you read in the fun cover format, ya, you must consistent in the ADNYANA, ya, you can state, ya, in the previous study by atau previous study maybe 5 or 11 gitu ya, discover the smoking parasite, so you must consistent gitu ya, because you fun cover, you all of your writing is fun cover in the article ya. The second ya, usually ya, our article ya will be published and we will read by all of researcher in the world, yeah. Maybe they want to check my experiment, yeah. So in the material and method, you must write in detail, yeah. Like you write statistic, yeah. But you don't write in detail in the material and method, yeah. So you must read in detail. Yeah, maybe if you use material and method, ya material, maybe it's to S4. It's to S4 you from maybe mark and the purity itu ya. You must read in detail ya because maybe the other researcher want to check your experiment. Ya. I think it's enough Mas Malano for a suggestion for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. Tutuk, for the suggestions. We moving on to Dr. Dasa. Do you have any response?
Thank you very much, and congratulations for the presentation. It is very interesting, and perhaps one of the alternative solutions also for the epidemic regarding to the Aedes aegypti. But here there are some also in the material method, as mentioned by Professor Toto. Here mentions that you are using 2 hours, 4 hours until 24 hours. So the designs of experiment, it's not mentioned using, for example, uh, DOA using the ANOVA or something like that, that yet clearly mentioned here and mentions ANOVA test, but which one perhaps should be more clear, which treatment that's given by the ANOVA. The other is because it is to the larva, what the about the mosquitoes itself, it is not yet clear explained. For example, when the larva can be, for example, have the mortality for 5 hours, because it is by smoking this paras ayu incense. And what about the direct to the mosquitoes will be directly like, for example, a normal mosquito repellent here, or it's a little bit different mechanism for that one. So, or waiting until this mosquito producing the larva or the Aedes aegypti. So overall, it is very good, but perhaps there are some more detail a little bit needed to make this written to be publishable better. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dasa, for the suggestion, advice, and the response. Thank you also for the participants. Actually, we still have time probably for other attendants or participants. Do you have any questions regarding the research for the participant? You may ask through raise hand feature or through column chat or chat box. Okay, so from the participants, Imade Dwi Merta Adiana from Erlangga University stated that based on the dengue virus in Indonesia is always increased, and in the pandemic today of COVID-19 also there are approximately 12,173 cases in data from Bali with 0.2% of case fatality rate. And it stated also that dengue is one of the dangerous virus that impact the most of health sector in Indonesia. The main problem today that the mosquito resistant due to the use of incense contain synthetic dyes that harmful to health. That stated also from Mr. Dwi, where the Parasayu incense contain also from pandan wangi, lemongrass, and wood powder. And this research also support the SDGs for good health and well-being, also for the climate action. And actually interesting fact, yesterday participant talks also about the danger of wood powder for our respiration system, especially for our lungs, with softwood and hardwood powder. Probably it can also be used to reduce the Aedes aegypti mosquito, where Mr. Dwi already stated that Parasayu incense toxicity can be used for the mosquito larvae. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Dwi, for your wonderful presentations, and also from the judges also the response. Thank you very much. We moving on to the next participants. The next participant is...
Thank you very much, Mr.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Oh yeah, for all the participants, please don't go anywhere because we will have the presentation link at the end of the sessions. For the third participant is Miss Jovelyn Abon from Philippines, Quirino State University. Are you here already? Miss Jovelyn? Okay, I think I will confirm the committee first. For Miss Jovelyn, please kindly wait. Okay, I think from the committee said that Miss Jovelyn from Philippines did not attend today's session. So we're moving on to the fourth participants from India with Mr. Uttars Miktai from Bria Vidya Niketan. Mr. Utkars also attends today's international conference. Okay, participants from India with the name of Utkars Mitai with the title of Forest Guard and Integrated Sensor Come All Base Fire Prone Area Mapping. Okay, I think the participant is already preparing, still preparing to enter the Zoom platform. We're moving on to the fifth participants first. If I'm not mistaken, this is also a national conference participant, is Mr. Ramadita Putra Purnomo.
Yes,
Hello,
it is
Mr.
me.
Ramadita.
Yes, it is me.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Ramadita, with the title, today is different research, yeah, the title about money sterilization box with extract system, rechargeable smart switch, Wi-Fi, digital timer, and thermostat to prevent, etc. From 10 November Institute of Technology. Mr. Ramadita, do you have your PowerPoint ready? Okay. Okay, as usual, you have 15 minutes to present your research and then following with the advice and response sessions with the judges. If you are ready, you may start presenting your research. Okay, Mr. Ramadita, are you ready?
Okay. If you want to be the best, you will be the number one. But if you want to be unique, you will the only one. Remember that. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable for all juries, honorable for all audience, ladies and gentlemen. The first lies and praying to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala because we can attend and gather in here with good condition. And then the first introduce myself. My name is Ramadita Putra Purnomo. You can call me Ramadita. and I'm from 10 November Institute of Technology, ITS, Indonesia. And in here, I will to tell you about my research, and the title is Money Sterilization Box with Osimum Bacillum System, extract rechargeables made with Wi-Fi, digital timer, and thermostat to prevent the transmission of COVID-19. A step of economy recovery. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in here I will to tell you about my research background, and the one is based on data from IKP or Indonesia Market Trader Association. The positive case of COVID spread in 164 market in 72 regency or city and 24 province in Indonesia. And then number one is market cluster indicate a high rate of transmission in the market. One of which is the interaction transmission of COVID-19 drug money. And then CSIRO Institute are the Australian National Science Agency found that coronavirus can survive in the 28 day on base notes. And the impact of COVID-19, according to the Minister of Trade, Agus Suparmanto, the COVID-19 outbreak has stopped the economic activity of trader in the market. The number of traders decreased by 29% with a decrease in average turnover in 39%. Okay, and then the COVID-19 pandemic is still sweeping the world. In the patient case COVID-19 positive and also still increasing. The COVID-19 pandemic has not only affect health impact, but also impact all sector. One sector that economic or business. Therefore, I innovate to create a money sterilization box by utilizing basil leaf as a natural disinfectant and light as a digital assemble head sound. And then in here, I will to tell you about pandemic COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic is caused by a new type of coronavirus, namely is SARS-CoV-2. WHO, our World Health Organization, has officially declared the coronavirus or COVID-19 as a pandemic since March 9, 2020. This pandemic has changed the fabric of the world life from social life to economic and business. And then I will to tell you about basil leaf on the sign is Osimum bacillium L. Have activity chemical content in them, including essential oil, physicoterol, alkaloid, phenolic compound, tannin, saponin, flavonoid, terpenoid, and other. And then I will to tell you also about disinfectant. Disinfectant are used to prevent infection or contamination by microorganisms as well as drug to eradicate germs. One the way to use this disinfectant is to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. And the last is antipathogen. Antipathogen inhibit the growth of pathogen or parasite microorganism. And then in here, I will tell you also about traditional market. Traditional market are market that developed in the community with indigenous trader. In of the application, traditional market are used twice for direct seller and buyer transaction with a bargaining process of future. And then in here, I will to tell you about methodology in my research. The first is preparation of tool and material, and then designing tool and tool design, phytochemical test, and the box tool or sterilization box money. And then in here, I will to tell you about smart with Wi-Fi in money sterilization box. The first is smart with Wi-Fi. Yes, smart with Wi-Fi is a smart suite that can be operated via Google Voice. The user can command the suite to turn on by using a voice without touching the suite. This can reduce the risk transmission COVID-19 due to hand touch. And then number two is electric rechargeable. Electric rechargeable is a practical water pump which in this use can be refilled by charging. This pump aims to pump the disinfectant liquid and flow it into the money. At the end of the pump, there is sprayer, the spray disinfectant liquid in the money. And then digital timer. Digital timer is a digital timer that can tune itself off when the time limit has been reached. This makes it easier for user to operate because the tool will turn it off when the time limit. And then digital thermostat. Digital thermostat is temperature control device. This tool can regulate the temperature practically. With this, the temperature in this tool in mindset at temperature that can kill the coronavirus. As a result, this tool will work optimally. And then this is my design. And the step one, in the step one, the money will go through the disinfectant box. Money will be disinfected by liquid, natural disinfection. Normally, I use basil leaf extract to prove disinfectant. In this natural environment, we carried out physicometrical test and pathogen inventory test. And then this is our result for my research. Number one is picochemical test saponin content. I use solution is 10 milli H2O and 1 drop HCl. Reaction content is saponin, and then reaction is foaming, and the reaction is foaming. And then number two is picochemical test of saponin content. I use ethanol and FeCl3 100. Reaction content tannin. Nah, the result is blue black to green color. And the last is picochemical of flavonoid content. I use magnesium and HCl 2 until 3 drops. And then reaction content flavonoid, and the result is color yellow until orange. And then in the stage 2, we take advantage of the temperature generated by the increased lamp to turn off and pathogen in virus. According to research of the Department of Peking University, the virus can be at temperature, this temperature, yes. We use filament in the incandescent lamps with have a fairly high resistance. So when connected, the electric fault will experience it. According to law, the power dissipation will obtain, and then this heat is well we use to kill pathogen, one of which is virus. And then I will to tell you about benefit in the money sterilization box. Number one, for government, yes. Number one, the first for government is provide a new innovation regarding money sterilization box to prevent the transmission of COVID-19 to money. And then number two is provide input to government to prevent the transmission of COVID-19 money in buying and selling activity using the money sterilization box. And number two, benefit from money sterilization box is for society, provide insight to the public, prevent the transmission of COVID-19 drug money by using the money sterilization box tools, and can reduce the risk of COVID-19 transmission so that reader and buyers in the market are not exposed to COVID-19 with the money sterilization box innovation. And the last for Twitter, it is hope that this result will be useful input for science generally. The result of this study are also expected to be a reference for research to add insight and knowledge, and can be used a literature guide for future research. And the last is the result of this study are expected to be used as input or comparison material for other research who conduct similar research or brother research. And then the conclusion, the market sterilization box, the monetization box tool to prevent COVID transmission in the market, a step for economic recovery with two system, sterilization system with natural disinfectant and with temperature, and then the money sterilization box tool use digital form, digital rechargeable and another. And the three is based on physical chemical test saponin, tannin, or other are bacterial, antivirus, anti-free radical, so they destroy pathogen and potentially weaken the coronavirus. And the last, the impact of the tool innovation is reducing the risk of COVID-19 transmission and activity economy. So the market then Indonesia wakes up from COVID-19. Okay, thank you for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramadita, for your wonderful presentations. Now we're moving on to response and advice session from the judges. Probably from Dr. Dasa, you may give advice and respond first to the participants.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and this is a great presentation for the money sterilization. Uh, when we check the extended abstract, for example, it is very good and very comprehensive. But one of the missings is to convince the reader that most of the cases in traditional market or in the market are because of the money, not because of the, for example, other things. There are many cases, of course, in the market during the pandemic, but here not yet stated, for example, whether it is come through the respirations or come directly from money. So for the background, you have to convince the reader that probably the virus or the coronavirus can be also still living in the money because of money is abiotic and that the virus cannot be live there, or it is through the, as mentioned, through the air. So it's not yet clear here in the background or in the extended abstract explaining about focusing on this one. But overall, it is very good, and the idea of the proposal of making this is very also beneficial. But you have to convince the reader that it is not because of the air transmissions or contamination through the virus, but because of we are using the money of in the traditional market, for example, because most of the in the modern market we are using the electronic money. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dasa. Moving on to Prof. Tutuk, do you have any response or advice?
Okay, thank you, Mas Malano. Actually, it's a good idea, but because I see from recent article, so I have maybe the suggestion. Yeah, it's very fundamental because if you write the recent article, yeah, and you put citation, yeah, like in your article, yeah, you write Nidia, yeah, Nidia in 2020, yeah. I see many you put the name of Nidia, yeah. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I search in your list of reference, yeah. I cannot find that, yeah. So if you write research article, yeah, in the reference, yeah, you must write all of your list of reference in the body of your research article. Yeah. It's very fundamental, yeah. Yeah. I think you must very careful, yeah, because many reference in your reference did not you write in the body of article. Yeah, because a research article must have a standard of writing. Yeah, yeah. If your content is good but not standard format, maybe you can difficult to publish your research article. Yeah? And the last, because I read your abstract, your abstract, because in general, abstract have the abstract content is background, objective, method, result, maybe can qualitative or quantitative, and the conclusion. So the background is maximum two sentence only. Don't more than two sentence. Uh, in the if you search in the journal, journal have maybe quartile, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, quartile 4. Quartile is uh, the quality of the journal. The best quality is Q1, so you can see the format of the abstract, if your abstract was standard, they want to accept your article. I think it's enough, Mas Malano. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Tutu, for your response and advice. We still have around 5 minutes, probably for the participant. Do you have any other questions or requests regarding the research for Mr. Ramadita? You may allow to raise hand or give a questions in the chat box. Okay, so Mr. Ramadita Putra Purnomo in today's research was talking about the money sterilization box with Akikum system extract that rechargeable also. It based also Okay, it was also on Indonesia Market Trader Association data that stated COVID cases in Indonesia is still increasing, especially in market cluster, which is to the basic form of money paper caused the separations of the COVID virus. So it's stated also by the Minister for the Market Activities is top cause of the pandemic situation. Therefore, the innovation about the money sterilization in pandemic COVID-19 situation by Mr. Ramadita is produced in this conference. Okay, probably if there is no other questions, we moving on to the next participants. Thank you so much, Mr. Ramadita Putra Purnomo, for your wonderful presentations. And thank you also for the judges for the response and advice. Okay, moving on to the next participants is Miss Haura Hani Abdul Reda Mirza from Sabah Al Ahmad Center for Giftedness and Creativity, Kuwait, with the title of The Thirsty Asphalt. For Miss Haura, do you there? Are you there?
Hello, yes.
Okay, hello, Miss Haura. Okay,
Hi.
so you have two devices, right?
Yes, I have two devices. I will share my screen from the other device.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Haura. So from the rules, I would like to remind you again, you have 15 minutes maximum of presenting your research and following 10 minutes for the response and advice sessions from two of the judges. So if you're ready, do you have your PowerPoint? You may try to share screen.
It's easy, clear or not?
Yes, we can see your share screen. You may start your presentations.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Hawra Hani Abdurrada Mirza. I am one of the students at Sabah Al Ahmad Center for Gifted and Talented Students in Kuwait. At a short CV about me, I am the youngest member of the Kuwaiti first experiment that had launched to the International Space Station in 6 December 2020, and the youngest member to program the first Kuwaiti satellite that launched to space maybe before 4 months, and the youngest trainer in Kuwait. Today, I will talk about my project and my simple project, the Smart Trolley. Actually, I don't have enough time to prepare to participate in this amazing event, but I will start. First, before I start the summary of my project, I will define the problem that I chose for my project, and it's overcrowding at the cashier comparative societies. Sorry. Okay. Overcrowding at the cashier comparative societies and delays in the product accounting. When I brainstorm to find an idea to use in my simple projects, I see that there is many techniques I can use it, and one of them it's facilitate the payment progress by smart cards and using the idea of location like Google Maps, and you will see now in which parts actually in the trolley, and using sensors to calculate the product. Also, we can payment by cash if the person don't want to pay in smart card, and use the barcode scanner to calculate the price of the project. This simple introduction about the problem. First, crowding is one of the most common problems around all over the world. A congestion divided into several sections that occur everywhere in traffic, complex, comparative societies, hospitals, and other places. The peak of this problem is the official holidays or holidays is the same. The cases of overcrowding vary from country to country from city to city. I decided to elevate the problem of congestion in comparative societies, shops, or chemical complex, and delay the accounting of products through the idea of my projects. And it is the smart trolley. It is a smart vehicle that helps to get rid of the problem of overcrowding in association complex and many where else. It works as an alternative solution to solar energy because I use solar panels to maybe recharge the trolley, because there are some associations they put the vehicle outside the assembly or the shop and enable them to pay directly through the smart card and contain a display connected to a phone's camera that desired the sections. But how? The desired sections is selected by the screen, and the directions on the screen will be shown using the camera to indicate user to the desired section. Like if it's the first time that I go to this shop or this mall, I don't know where is like this shop or this mall. I can use the screen to give me the direction that where should I go exactly. The screen also displays the specifications of the product by scanning the product when calculating the price of the product. But how? The buyer decides if he wants the thing or not, and the idea helps the buyer to calculate the price of the product at the moment of purchase or selection. Like if I want this thing, when I put it to the trolley, it will like automatically calculate it. And in the screen, we will have the total price of all products in the trolley, and each product and its a price. The total impressions appear the screen, and also put a piece of pieces that are placed as in clothing shops in the vehicle. Why? Because when pressing the finish button returns of the calculation, the buyer cannot steal that when he adds a product did not calculate the price from the barcode when passing through the exit of the complex is running alarm device on the door to remind the the buyer that you don't buy or calculate this product. It's like a reminder only, and to prevent him from stealing from the place also. Here I have simple drawings and prototypes for my project. We have a screen that it shows the direction, the total price of the products, and everything connect to the trolley. Also, I put like small solar panels if we want to like use it, and if we don't want, we can. Also, I put a barcode scanner that the buyer can scan the product to see the price of it, and the payment device we will put. Also, the camera in front of the trolley. And the sensors, I use LED buzzer scanner, maybe distance sensor. Actually, I make a small project like in the real life, but I can't show it to you because it's like had some things to improve. And this is the 3D drawing and prototype. At the same like sections, we have the screen, the payment device, the barcode scanner, the camera, and the sensors. Here is when I participate in one of the like famous competitions in Kuwait. It's the science and engineering competition. I take the third place around all over the world in this project. And it's my first time to participate in like this amazing events with you, and it's not will be the last time. It was a very nice like try, and I hope that I can participate in other events like this nice events and with you. Thank you for listening, and I hope that I can like describe my idea in a clear way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your wonderful presentations. For the participants, you may give a round of virtual applause. Okay, so we're moving on to the advice and response session for the judges. Probably for the first one, Prof. Tutuk, are you ready?
Okay, thank you, Malano. Haura, because I cannot find your article in the link sent to me, so I want to ask to you, yeah, what is the novelty of your project?
Can you repeat the question, please? I can't hear you clear.
What is the novelty of your project? Novelty is maybe improvement your project compare the conventional trolley.
Okay. I use like many techniques in my project, and it's like a simple way now, but I hope that I can provide it and provide a new techniques in the future. But maybe the new thing is to like to calculate the product at the same time when you select it. Like you don't need to wait in a long like in a long time for like in cashiers. You don't have to wait.
Okay. And the important thing, if you develop a project and you will write into publish your article, is about the cost, yeah, and how much the additional cost in your project compared to the conventional trolley.
It's not so high, like, but I think it's between like high and low. Like it's
Okay, enough for Malano for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Tutuk, for your advice, questions, and response. We're moving on to Dr. Dasa. Dr. Dasa, you may.
Thank you very much. This is actually a great innovations that we as customers or in the supermarket or in the mall or in the shopping area, really needed this kind of trolley. But unfortunately, as mentioned by Professor Tutuk, there is no abstract or extended abstract uploaded through Google Drive. So we cannot inform suggestions about the writing. But perhaps it would be good when, for example, this research can be implemented, because most of the customers at the moment waiting also for your inventions like this one. Because of, for example, me as a customer as well, sometimes we have to find the person to check about the price, whether it is over budget or whether it is cheap, or sometimes it's a little bit difficult to judge. But with your new trolley, we can direct scans and even knows the total maximums of the price. Even when we lost in the mall, we knows the directions due to the additions of the camera and direction in that one. So congratulations for your inventions, and hopefully the written part would be also submitted, because or published, because it is very good inventions of your trolley. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Daso, for the response and advice. Thank you also for the participant for your wonderful presentations. Please give a round of virtual applause again for the participants. We're moving on to the next agenda. Thank you, Haura, for your time. We're moving on into participants. Yes, participants from India with name of Utkarsh Mittal. Do you already here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Mr. Okay, Mr. Can I call it Mr. Utkarsh?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Mr. Utkarsh, you will be presenting about Forest Guard, an integrated sensor-based fire-prone area mapping, yeah, from Birla Vidya Niketan. Okay. You have 15 minutes for presenting your research and following 10 minutes with response sessions from the judges. You may present your presentations.
Yeah. Greetings, respected judges and global audience at large. I, Utkarsh Mittal from India, would like to present my research, Forest Guard. With over 58,250 wildfires burning 10.3 million acres of forest in 2020 alone, the world needs to spend a fraction of that 130 to 150 billion spent in fire suppression in developing a prevention technology to break the vicious cycle of wildfires. So we researched on the characteristic changes which surround a fire and concluded that fires can be detected effectively in their infancy by using auditory and sensory analysis to overcome the drawbacks of visual analysis and capturing. Our system also eliminates blind spots due to low spatial resolution in the current satellite-based systems for fire-prone area classification systems, like fire weather index or fire danger index, which consider only highly correlated forest ecosystem variables and assume their linear nature. Hence, we came up with Forest Guard, a dispersed multivariable sensor network capable of preemptive prediction of fire-prone areas and early detection of wildfires with the help of automated tools and deep learning. On the right corner, you can see the Forest Guard module. It has 5 sensors which collect data to send it to the Node MCU microprocessor for analysis, after which any anomaly detected is sent to the Forest Guard app, and the risk value is generated for the model is sent to the app for the generation of a color-encoded risk assessment map. Coming on to the prediction facility of our device, Forest Guard system collects data and assigns a numerical fire risk probability to each node and the area around it for preemptive fire-prone area mapping. The individual sensor nodes gather data on dynamic variables listed below, while satellites provide data on static variables, all indicative of a fire. The data is collected and analyzed at the end of every week by feeding it to a deep learning model called Transformer for analysis, presenting the world's first deep learning-based fire-prone area classification index capable of assigning exact percentage risk values. The encoded deep learning model analyzes the data collected through the previous week with as many as 10,080 data points for each parameter. It first adds columns of data on static variables to the rows of data collected on dynamic variables according to the geolocation of the sensor node and area-specific satellite data, and then performs pre-processing steps like normalization and removing outliers. It then calculates the moving averages of all variables to reduce the data set of each sensor node to one row or data line, and calculates a percentage risk probability for each node, bases the numerical intensity of different parameters which took into consideration, and the pre-trained self-learned patterns of the model. As this is a novel approach and hence no ready data set was available, we trained a model through reinforcement learning. Basis the data collected from known fire-prone areas, we defined values for each parameter for ideal risk percentages of 0 and 100 and inserted the conditions in a data set with input values on all required parameters. We then trained a simple artificial neural network on the above data set with mean square error loss, since this task was similar to regression task. After training, the model for 50 epochs, its training accuracy was 98% and validation accuracy was 96%. In the second iteration, we again took a data set of 100 values and applied random values from the range given by the fire weather index in the target column. Right now, these were just random values from the range with no rational basis, but the same ANN, or artificial neural network, was trained again on this data set in the next iteration. After training it for 50 epochs, these random values became fixed for that deep learning model for a given set of values of the parameters. In the third iteration, a set of 100 samples was taken again and run through the model to arrive at prediction target values. After the prediction, both the data sets are combined to make 200 samples in total, and the deep learning model is then trained on this data set. Repeating the cycle makes the model more accurate and the random values become more fixed and prediction more accurate. This approach is inspired by the Monte Carlo simulation and reinforcement learning. A color-encoded risk assessment map is then created, as shown in the right side, as per the color code of each percentage value, wherein the percentage and hence the color of each individual node is generalized to a surrounding area of 0.031 kilometers square. Coming to detection. Early detection of fire is crucial. Our system has the capability to detect a fire within 2 minutes of ignition. To circumnavigate around the problem of LOS or line of sight, our system uses auditory natural cues like characteristic crackling sounds of wildfires and the warning calls of birds. A preliminary alarm is raised after detecting these sounds by at least 5 adjacent modules by running them through a deep learning algorithm which performs sound spectral analysis on the sounds gathered through a high-definition microphone. The model was trained on 280 audio clips of different vegetations of 50 seconds each, sourced from Kaggle. Random sounds were also inserted in the dataset to train the classification model to differentiate target sounds from other noises. This is a binary dataset for a binary classification. To make the dataset feature vectors to be fed into the neural network for classification, we use the short Fourier transformation technique. Since this is an audio classification task, we use a transformer network instead of a normal RNN or LSTM to avoid vanishing or exploding gradients. The multi-layer attention layer will apply attention to those feature vectors which are necessary to be considered to get the desired output. This will also give us a high computing speed. After training the model for 100 epochs, we got a training accuracy of 99% and validation accuracy of 98%. A confirmatory alarm is also raised when the fire reaches within 5 feet of the node, an algorithm detects the required deviations from the node-specific parameter-wise baseline automatically created by the node by performing pre-processing and calculating the moving average, simultaneously dropping atmospheric humidity and soil temperature. Increasing atmospheric and soil temperatures and a high level of smoke and PM 2.5 would all be treated as indicators of a fire by the algorithm, and an alarm would be sounded at the control station. The Forest Guard app fast tracks information relay to a greater number of first responders and the general public. Whenever fire is detected by a node, an alert is generated to all users within 50-kilometer range as an early warning. The app functions as a data source for all sensor data and hence also acts as a secondary remote monitoring station. For easy maintenance of the hundreds of individual nodes, the app informs of a node malfunction, it coordinates, and even the specific component that needs replacement. Talking about the placement of the modules, we propose a 200 meter by 200 meter dispersed sensor grid like shown below. Sensor modules are placed at the vertices and diagonal intersections, reducing the effective distance to 175 meters, hence improving detection. The communication between the different modules laid throughout the forest floor would be done through LoRa modules. Now, experimentation and results. So we lit 3 small-scale fires to test the efficiency of the prototype. The first fire was lit in a grass plot of 5 meter by 15 meter to test the detection capability. It took the node 2 minutes and 44 seconds to detect the fire, even when it was only 0.6 feet away. To find out why, we lit a fire close to the node as shown below. Upon comparing sensor readings with other instruments, we found that the sensors had a high variability at extreme readings, and the readings weren't crossing the baseline when they should have. Our solution? Train an AI model to correct the data input from the sensors. To detect fires even from a distance, we developed a DL model to detect a wildfire based on characteristic sounds, as explained previously. To test our improvements, we tested our device in a control burn scheduled in 25 meter by 50 meter plot in the Uttarakhand forest range in India. The data trends have been summarized in the graph given here, which confirm the hypothesized correlations. The device was able to detect the fire with the help of wildfire sounds within 2 minutes and 23 seconds, way before the fire could travel the 30 meters to the node. When the fire reached the node at 3 minutes and 58 seconds, the node detected the deviation from the baseline within 10 seconds, and the app notified at 4 minutes and 12 seconds. The risk assessment map generated by the model on the right shows its self-learned patterns on the basis of which it assigns the risk values. When compared with other sensor-based systems in testing, R is the only one which has both detection and prediction capabilities for short-term classification, which may justify its installation costs. This system is not plagued by the temporal and spatial issues of satellite data, as it uses on-ground data, which it itself collects through sensor modules, and reduces the extrapolated area of the data to just 0.031 kilometers square. Many of the automated systems in DICE's proposed use binary classification to give only broad range classifications like 10, 20, 20, 30. But R gives the exact risk values and accounts for both static and dynamic variables like any other index. Unlike current sensor systems, which rely heavily on costly hardware and mass deployment, becomes economically unfeasible, Forest Guard makes use of low-cost sensors and makes up using deep learning techniques. Our system's approach is simple. Remove fuel, not fire, to break the fire triangle, provide accurate fire-prone area mapping, and eliminate high-risk areas through measures like artificial rain, control burns, and control belts. If the fire still occurs, give the warning under 3 minutes, guide the firefighters on the movement and direction of the fire in the early hour through our Forest Guard app, and set up transparency and communication channel. Forest Guard today is and tomorrow will be the one-stop two-fork solution to wildfires globally. And these are some of the references of the papers we went through for our research. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your wonderful presentations. We're moving on into response sessions from Dr. Dasa. You may start giving advice first.
Thank you. This is very well prepared presentations and very impressive. The thing is, I cannot access to your written extended abstract because of perhaps a different format, but overall it is very good. And would be good to see the implementations directly because, for example, in Indonesia also the forest fire are still occurring, especially during the dry season. So congratulations for your idea and research. This is very good and soon to be implemented in all countries, not only for India, but also for other neighbors country that really needed this type of forest guard detector to prevent the forest fire. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for the response, Dr. Dasa. Moving on to Prof. Tutuk, you may start your response.
Okay, thank you, Utkas. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, for your innovation. Yeah. But because we talk about the international conference and we must the standard of the extended abstract, yeah. So I read your extended abstract. My suggestion, yeah. First, yeah. In your material and method, yeah. you use zeolite, yeah, right? You
Uh,
use zeolite, yeah. But I don't see, yeah, because I think it's many type of zeolite. Yeah? We have zeolite A, zeolite XY, yeah. A is many type, 3A, 5A, yeah.
mhm.
So you must clearly, yeah, in the write in the material and method type of your zeolite. Yeah? If you use a natural zeolite, you can write natural zeolite. Yeah? Because in Indonesia many natural zeolite. Yeah? So if I want to check your research, yeah, I made in Semarang, gitu ya. Uh, I use zeolite, not zeolite 3A or XY, yeah. So I cannot same with your research. So I can complain with you, gitu ya. So we must be careful because your research will be published and many people will be see your research. Yeah, so they will try to your research. Yeah. The second, I see in your discussion. Yeah, usually, yeah, that discussion, yeah, would be much better if you using the cross reference. Yeah, cross reference is mean uh, you take the previous study about maybe the use of zeolite or the other seawater, yeah. So maybe in your conclusion, my research is same with the previous study by. So it's very more better if you use under cross reference. Is my just suggestion Malano for Mital, Utkas Mital. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Prof. Tutuk and Dr. Daso for your response and advice. Thank you also for the participant for your wonderful presentations. The time is already finished. We would like to moving on to the next participants. Thank you, Mr. Utkars, for your time. Now we're moving on to the next participants is Keira Koray Yilmaz from Turkey. Hello, are you there?
Hi, I'm there.
Oh, okay, okay. So your title is about seawater, a new approach instead of water-based agriculture. Okay, do you have your PowerPoint ready?
Yes, my PowerPoint is ready. I'm sharing
Okay,
right now.
okay. You have 15 minutes maximum for presenting your research and following 10 minutes for the response and advice session from the judges. If you're
Okay.
ready, you may start present.
Okay, can you see my screen and can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can see your screen and we can hear you clearly.
Okay, my name is Kayra and I'm from Istanbul, Turkey. Today I'm going to be presenting my study, a new alternative to water-based agriculture, experiment on Bacillus vulgaris L, treated with seawater. These are titles of my presentation. Now I want to talk about the subject of my study. The subject of my study takes an approach of changes of the different parts of the plant, Bacillus vulgaris L, which is one of the most important plants in agriculture, exposed to a certain seawater concentration for 3 weeks, were investigated by scientific canals. And we have three sections in this study. First, we see a hypothesis in this study that the usage of some salty water in agriculture would be good for some plants, and we conducted 3-week experiments for our study. Then we evaluated the results in scientific ways. Um, the purpose of the research study is to suggest an alternative to decreasing freshwater resources. Freshwater resources are decreasing by day and day, and so decreasing the freshwater resources is an important point that, and we want to encourage the use of salt water in agriculture. Especially this study aims to contribute to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which is an important point for our world. Okay, water has become a massive problem for our world, especially some countries that faced with drought has a problem with fresh water. Earth, the 97 percentage is salty water, but approximately only 1% of the water sources are ready for our use. And that's an important point that we have a little storage of fresh water resources, then we need to use them carefully. We need to be so careful about it. As you can see in the figure, agriculture has an important role in our life. If we want to sustain our lives, we have to be we have to eat something. We have to give something to our body to sustain our life, and agriculture consume the freshwater resources so fastly. So if we decrease the burden of freshwater resources in agriculture, then we may use the freshwater resources for other purposes, like giving to African countries or Arabic countries. So it is an important point that we should be careful about it. Salt water. Salt water is a potential source that we can use for agriculture, not completely, but if we use some salt water in composition of watering composite, then it will be very nice. It will be very nice. It will be so useful to agriculture industry. As you can see in the figure, you see the composition of the salt water. The salt water consists of 96 percentage of water and 2.5 percentage of salt, which is good for plants. Plants love salts, but we have a problem there. If we use very big salt resources in a watering composite, then the plant will be inhibited because of the saltwater inhibition. So we need to use less than we need to do, and we have minerals in seawater. Minerals are so useful, and minerals are an actuator for plants to grow, to increase their bodies more, increase sizes or others. Salt water has an importance there. So I want to talk about the method of the experiment. The soils were sieved to separate from stones, and the soils were cleaned by us. And as you can see in the table, we have three different experimental groups. Firstly, we have a control group that with no composite or another active material. We have a zeoton and we have seawater. And seeds were added to a cool depth. Then the first irrigations were made and the seeds were planted for 3 weeks. The subject C, which is the seawater-based experimental group, was irrigated with 5% seawater. The experimental groups were watered 2 times a week for 3 weeks. As you can see in the figure, we placed them in a cool depth, and as you can see, size of a root and a stem. Now I want to talk about results. We have 4 parameters in the study. Firstly, we have a leaf number, which is not an important parameter that we should not take a look at the leaf number, but for salty water composites, there wasn't any side effect that we observed. For root number is decreased by the salty water composite, which is a negative point of the study. For root length, the root length is increased by the salty water, which is because of we are watering the soil, and soil interacts with roots, and it affects roots directly. And we have stem length, that stem length is increased by the saltwater composite. And as you can see in the figure, generally the salty water affected goodly our plant, Bacillus vulgus L, or bean. So I want to talk about the innovation of this study and applicability, how we can apply this study. The effects of seawater on physiological properties of plants were investigated for first time in the world in an experiment. And we see how salty water is effective or how salt water is harmful for our plant in physiological properties. That's an important point. And finally, we saw that seawater can be applied in agriculture industry, especially third world countries in Africa generally can use salt water to water their beans. It can be very effective for them, and with that we can decrease or lighten the burden of fresh water in agriculture, and that will give a chance to accumulate more fresh water for our life, for our use in life. This research study is awarded with a gold medal in International Avicenna Youth Science Fair, and we presented our study there. The award was given by International Avicenna Research Center. These are references that I used in my presentation. Thanks for your consideration to my presentation. If you have any question, if you have any extra question for me, you can contact with me with these contact addresses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your wonderful presentations. Now we're moving on to the advice sessions. Probably for Dr. Dasa, you may
Thank you
start.
very much. Yeah, this is very interesting for the bean. We call it here actually buncis in Indonesia, or perhaps in international name French beans, or sometimes called also papa beans, but mostly French beans. It is very interesting that can use also salt water to watering this type of the beans. Perhaps it should be using the agronomical journal, not only Wikipedia or some information during the discussion. It would be very useful, not only using certain in the website, but academic journal, because there are in terms of this French beans or this Passeria vulgaris is quite a lot, yeah, in terms of agronomical journal for this one as well. So it would be good and strengthen your written published paper for this one. So it as you sounds also whenever, for example, in the drought, it can be also the seawater can be an alternative solution as well. So good luck and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dasa. Oh,
Thank you.
yes.
As you said, Wikipedia is not a good source for our reference section. We need to be careful about it. I couldn't see any kind of study about it, so I was I used Wikipedia because of that. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So it means that you are difficult finding the journal, yeah,
Yes,
for
yes.
this Pasere Vulgaris. There are actually quite a lot there because it has already written mostly in agronomic and horticulture journal. So
I will be
in
more careful.
specific,
Okay,
yeah, okay, in
thank you.
agronomic and horticulture journal. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dasa. For Prof. Tutuk, you may share the response or advice.
Okay, thank you. I think if we want to set the journal for your topic, you can go to www.sciencedirect.com. Maybe it's many article in the journal you can search. So my suggestion, because uh, this apa namanya is not a competition ya, but we talk about international conference ya. So I want to suggest you about your extended abstract ya, because I don't see ya in the discussion ya, ya. I don't see the effect of seawater content, yeah, which is good for plant growth. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, so if we want to discuss, yeah, because your title is the effect of seawater for agriculture, yeah, so you must know about the composition of seawater, yeah, because seawater have natrium chlorida, ya, natrium chloride, ya. Natrium chloride is a salt. Ya. How about the effect of salt in the soil? About the plant growth, ya. So you must discuss about the composition of the seawater and what the effect of the seawater in the soil and the growth of the plan, ya. So must detail, ya, because that is a research article, ya, so must detail in the discussion why, how, ya, must you discuss in the your article, ya. Thank you, Malano, is my suggestion, ya,
Yes.
because I don't see your discussion is not a deep discussion, ya. Okay, thank you.
I have to be more careful about extended abstract. I will be editing it after
Yeah.
conference. Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Prof. Tutuk and Dr. Dasa for your response. And thank you also for the participant for your wonderful presentations. Probably the time is already finished. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you also to all participants that are already attending. I will send you the presentation link in the chat box below, because after this we will have a break, and then we will inform you guys to when will be the next sessions begin, which is around 3 o'clock. And for the participants that didn't present the research yet, please kindly wait, because we will have a break also written on the schedule. Okay.
Mas Malano, mungkin saya tidak bisa melanjutkan ya, Mas Malano.
Oke, baik, Prof. Tutuk.
Saya tidak begitu sehat ini. Mungkin Pak Dase bisa menggantikan atau apa, Mbak Prita. Saya kurang enak badan ini. Saya mungkin setelah
Ya, Pak.
ini sudah cukup saja dulu ya, Mas Malano.
Baik, Prof.
Tolong
Tutuk.
sampaikan Mbak. Tadi sudah saya sampaikan Mbak Prita juga ya.
Ya, baik, saya sudah dapat konfirmasi juga sama Bu Prita.
Makasih ya, Mbak Mas Malano. Oke, Assalamualaikum.
Baik. Terima kasih,
Oke,
Prof.
salam sehat
Tutuk.
terus.
Pak Dase, selamat
Pak.
ketemu kembali.
Iya, Pak. Sehat terus, Pak.
Oke, pada saat kita break terlebih dahulu. kemungkinan aku akan konfirmasi ke panitia terlebih dahulu ya Pak terkait jadwal, karena seharusnya Prof. Raldi dan Prof. Tutuk ya setelah ini. Mungkin nanti
Baik,
aku
Pak.
konfirmasi kembali. Okay, to all participants, we will have